Jealousy is a common human emotion that everyone experiences at some point in their lives. It can arise in various forms, such as jealousy in relationships, envy of others' achievements or possessions, or even jealousy in friendships. While jealousy may seem like a natural and harmless emotion, it can sometimes lead to negative consequences such as damaging relationships, causing stress and anxiety, and affecting overall well-being. In this video, I'll be exploring the psychology behind jealousy in relationships, explain 7 cognitive distortions that fuel jealousy, and provide valuable insights on how to navigate this complex emotion. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. If you are prone to jealousy, even when there is little reason for it, it can cause significant problems. Your partner may feel mistrusted and controlled, while you risk becoming a mental wreck due to constant doubts. It's important to realize that it's often not the situation itself that triggers unreasonable jealousy, but rather the thoughts you have about the situation. Simply recognizing that you are making thinking or cognitive errors when you feel jealous is a step in the right direction. Filtering is a common cognitive distortion that often occurs in the context of jealousy. When we filter, we focus only on certain aspects of a situation while ignoring others. For example, a jealous person may only notice how much fun their partner is having with someone else. They don't notice that their partner is also annoyed by the other person. This can lead to feelings of inadequacy, mistrust, and resentment. So, what can you do about it? To combat filtering, it's important to be aware of the tendency to do it. By intentionally broadening our perspective, we can start to see other aspects of the situation. For example, we might notice our partner's bored expression while they talk to their ex. It's also helpful to remember that everyone has strengths and weaknesses. The person we are jealous of might envy some of our qualities or be self-conscious about their appearance or abilities. Think about why your friend, girlfriend, or spouse choose you and not someone else. Jealous individuals tend to believe they know what their partner is thinking, assuming that their partner wants to engage in sexual activities with anyone they look at. Projection occurs because people believe that their partner shares the same negative self-image that they hold. This negative self-image leads them to think that their partner does not consider them worthy and may cheat on them as a result. Projection can also stem from one's own feelings for someone else, leading them to believe their partner feels the same. To overcome this type of jealousy, it is best to be clear and explicit. Double-check your assumptions by observing what is actually happening and verifying if your thoughts are accurate. If still unsure, directly ask your partner without interrogating them. It's important to remember that these are your own thoughts, not your partner's. Jealous people have a tendency to take their partner's behavior personally. For example, if their partner looks at someone else, they think, he or she doesn't find me attractive anymore. You can change it by realizing that taking information personally is related to insecurity. In your partner's behavior, you hope to see that he or she still finds you attractive, and you look at rivals to see if you're good enough for your partner. In the future, Detach your rivals and your partner's behavior from yourself. If your partner smiles at someone else, think, he or she is just being friendly, instead of, he is tired of me. If you still compare yourself to supposed rivals, say stop out loud to yourself and do something else. Jealous people often have super romantic thoughts that can fuel their jealousy. They may think, for example, you can only love one person at a time, or if you truly love someone, you only have eyes for that person. In this case, you may already feel jealous if your partner just looks at someone else. You can counteract super romantic thinking by acknowledging that it's not realistic. Adopt a more pragmatic view of love. Instead of thinking soulmates are destined to be together and will never have problems in their relationship, you can choose a more realistic alternative. No relationship is perfect, and even soulmates will have disagreements and challenges to work through. Another example of a super romantic thought. If we are truly meant to be, everything will just fall into place without any effort. More realistic alternative would be a successful relationship takes work and communication from both partners, and sometimes things won't go smoothly, but that doesn't mean it's not worth the effort. Catastrophic thinking is a common and sometimes persistent thinking error. For example, a person with social anxiety may catastrophize about giving a presentation at work, imagining all the ways it could go wrong and the negative consequences that could follow. Jealous people often expect the worst, assuming that even innocent actions such as simple glance or comment from their partner indicate a desire to engage in sexual activity with another individual. You can counter catastrophic thinking by challenging your catastrophic thoughts. This is one of the main techniques used in cognitive behavioral therapy. First, gather arguments for the catastrophic thought, and then gather arguments against it. Make real an effort to come up with counter-arguments, as arguments in favor of the catastrophic thought will come naturally if you are prone to jealousy. For example, ask yourself, what makes it unlikely that your partner is cheating? How likely is it that he or she is cheating? What other explanations are possible for your partner's behavior? By comparing the arguments that support and contradict the catastrophic thought, one can gain a more balanced and nuanced perspective. Additionally, it's important to consider the practical and emotional consequences of the worst-case scenario and to identify ways to cope with them. Developing an emergency plan can be especially helpful, as it can reduce worry and alleviate feelings of jealousy. Due to their negative self-image, jealous people often think that their partner will eventually leave them for someone else, since everyone else seems to be more appealing than themselves. For example, a woman who feels insecure about her appearance may become jealous if her partner talks to another woman who she perceives as more beautiful. She may feel like she is not good enough and worry that her partner will be attracted to someone else. Similarly, a man who feels inadequate about his career may become jealous if his partner talks to a successful businessman at a party. He may feel like he cannot compete and worry that his partner will leave him for someone who is more financially stable. Furthermore, people with negative self-image may struggle with trusting others. They may have experienced rejection or betrayal in the past, which has led to a belief that people are untrustworthy. They may think that others will eventually let them down and that they will be abandoned. This can lead to a cycle of jealousy and mistrust in relationships. So a person who has been cheated on in the past may struggle to trust their new partner. They may constantly check their partner's phone or social media accounts, looking for signs of infidelity. To overcome jealousy caused by negative self-image and mistrust, it's important to identify the root causes of these feelings. Often negative beliefs about oneself and others originate from childhood experiences or past traumas. By acknowledging and working through these issues, it's possible to develop a more positive self-image and build healthier relationships. Psychotherapy may be necessary to work through underlying emotional issues. Another common thinking error that can lead to jealousy is the false cause fallacy. It occurs when someone gives a different explanation for their own behavior compared to the same behavior of their partner. For example, if a partner comes home late, the jealous person may assume that it's because the partner was spending time with an attractive colleague, even if there is no evidence to support this. However, if the jealous person themselves comes home late, they may attribute it to external factors such as traffic or a work emergency and not consider the possibility that their partner may become jealous. To overcome the false cause fallacy, it's important to critically examine the explanations for one's own and partner's behavior. This can involve considering whether the partner's behavior was really their fault or whether there was an external factor that contributed to the situation. Another way to overcome the false cause fallacy is to consider how someone else might interpret the behavior. For example, if a partner comes home late, the jealous person might ask themselves how a neutral third party would view the situation. Would they automatically assume that the partner was cheating, or would they consider alternative explanations? By considering alternative viewpoints, we can gain a more balanced perspective on the situation. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.